Voice of the Sea, learning from experts across the ocean.
Welcome to Voice of the Sea.
This time on Voice of the Sea,
We spend the day at the University of Hawaii at Manoa's SOEST Open House. SOEST is the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology, and every 2 years they open their laboratories and workspaces to school groups and the general public. I talked to SOEST researchers who shared their knowledge of earthquakes, volcanoes, waves, and the sounds of the sea.
Quite often when we start an experiment, we start it in the lab here. So that's why we had this tank built, and rather than taking something into the ocean and deploying it there, we first start with a big bucket like this. Fill it up with water, throw it in the water, and test it out. Actually, even before that, if it's a system like this, we might even just plug it into a computer without any hydrophones and see what signals come in and come out. And then we put hydrophones in, we throw it in the water. So sometimes we work with microphones because, again, it's a little simpler to use, and we don't have to get anything wet, you know? So we go from simple to complex. This is if you ever come out to Snug Harbor, we got a fiberglass tank from NOAA facility at Koalo Basin. They were gonna get rid of it, and we cut it out in 3 days. We cut it out and shipped it over to Snug Harbor. And this is, it says we're trying to get it over a fence, and that was a logistics
Nightmare.
nightmare that I was playing with. That was fun now in retrospect. And now we use it. It's 20 feet in diameter, so about 5 feet deep. We use it as a big bucket. And again, it's a controlled experiment then.
Right.
There's no snapping shrimp. You know, there's no big waves crashing back and forth. It's a quieter environment. There's still noise that comes through because it's close to a shipyard. There's shipping, you know, like cranes dropping stuff. You know, you can hear cars on the Sand Island Access Road it's near a bridge. As trucks go over the bridge, you can hear ka-dum, dum, ka-dum, dum. So you're picking up still a lot of interesting noises and signals from all around you. So this is our students right here, Randa Suka, and this is a little tetrahedral support that she developed. Again, just out of spare parts, and she's deploying it in a swimming pool. We try to find people with swimming pools and ask them to donate the pool to science for a day or two. And it's actually a pool for Patty Lee, one of our a prof at in the Department of Geology Geophysics, and she lent us her pool, which was nice, warmer water, cleaner water that you can work with. And again, a pool is nice because it has edges, has sides, and it's easy to deploy from. So we've been doing that. We do some scuba diving as well. And a lot of time when we deploy in deeper water, we need scuba divers to go down. And so we're certified as scientific divers to be able to go down and adjust things, bring things up, bring things down, and stuff like that. So this tripod here is like that. So the question is, we want to build something that has hydrophones that lets us. Okay, first I'll show it to you on a diagram, because you start with a diagram. I'm going to close this door so it's a little easier to hear and see. This is our little SketchUp of one of our systems that we're building. So what you have is, these are hydrophones, preamplified hydrophones, so underwater microphones. And you notice we just say, oh, we want them spaced a certain distance apart, and in clumps of 4. And then we have the cables with extension cords. You saw those. And then they go into an underwater housing, which is downstairs, and goes through filters. So the sound gets changed, gets filtered out. Like, for example, if there's too many low frequencies that you're not interested in, but they're overriding other frequencies, you filter them out. It gets digitized. You saw that, the little digitizers, into a computer and onto land. So from there you go, okay, now we have to build a structure. And yes, you could go to a machine shop and say, we want a structure you know, and you find out, oh, it'll cost you $5,000. And you build it at a certain distance, and then you find out you didn't want that structure at all. You know what I mean? Oh, we really, you know, because when you experiment, you do something in theory, then you experiment with something, and you realize, oh, it would be sort of nicer. That's how quite often, oh, it would be kind of nicer if we had them spaced out further apart or closer together, or maybe not all equidistant. Maybe we want like this, where it's actually 90 degrees and then 45 degrees, you know, a different configuration. Or maybe we want to put an additional hydrophone on. So it's like a wish list, constantly changing wish list. So what we do is we don't spend as much money at the beginning. We develop prototypes out of existing parts. So Rhonda, one of our students, built this. And I had this idea, well, you know, we could use tripods. And you can get tripods pretty cheap. This is for surveying. You know, when they go out on the roads, you see survey crews. Hold on 1 second, I'll put this down. So I said, well, can't we use a survey crew, a survey grade tripod, and alter it? And Rhonda went out and she built one. So what she did is, you have this. So she put some little slabs in here, and that what allows it is, as it flattens out, before these went up too high. This way they stay flat and they don't collapse in on themselves this way. She put there usually are some metal sharp prongs that go down into the ground. She took those off and put holders on. You can put your, this is for microphones, but we use the hydrophones. We attach them right here. And so the hydrophones just stick straight up. They stick straight up in here. 1, 2, 3. You can adjust them nicely. So if we want them closer together, we want them closer together. Further apart. And then this actually attaches underneath. I'm not going to do it because it'll take a little bit of time, but this actually goes underneath, this goes on top, and it becomes rigid. And then we can attach a hydrophone up to here. And this actually extends just the same way. So then we deployed it. It looks good. And this is the part about design. And we deployed it, but it was really soft mud, kind of very silty sand.
Sure.
And the hydrophones just started digging in over time into one spot or another. Sort of like, oh, we didn't even think about that because we were thinking hard ground. And then it wasn't quite even. And we thought, well, we'll just measure it or stick rocks underneath. But when you're diving, it gets tedious. So we went back to the drawing boards, and Rhonda again, let's see if I can find it. So again, I come up with these brilliant ideas, which is just a concept, which is like, well, what about suction cups like plungers? Couldn't we use that? You know, in sailing, one of the best ways for soft, muddy sediment is called a mushroom anchor. So I thought like a mushroom anchor, but the other way around, and like a plunger. And again, Rhonda went off, and she built this out of scratch, out of just parts from the hardware store. And again, this just goes, attaches underneath here. So it's like a little leg, like a lunar lander leg with a plunger on top. That prevents it from sinking. And then you have adjustments here. So you can raise and lower this whole thing and flatten it out, plus little micro adjustments by bringing it up, bringing it down. So first you have large adjustments, then small adjustments.
Very cool.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah.
She's awesome. So this is the sort of thing, this is not the science part, this is the engineering part. But it's wonderful engineering part. It's the tinkering part where you're coming up with concepts and you're prototyping and you're building it, and then you throw it in the water and you have fun, you know? And then something snaps and you collect it and you drag yourself home until you come up with a better solution.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome.
The University of Hawaii's Sea Grant College program focused on Hawaii's coasts and its communities through sustainable development, safe seafood supply, sustainable coastal tourism, hazard resilience, and healthy coastal ecosystems. Hawaii's Sea Grant.
The Curriculum Research and Development Group in the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CRDG has been providing quality educational programs and services for over 40 years, serving students, teachers, parents, educators, and experts around the world and here in Hawaii. The Curriculum Research and Development Group, improving schools, improving education. CRDG.
Exploring Our Fluid Earth is a dynamic curriculum developed by the University of Hawaii's Curriculum Research and Development Group, teaching ocean science concepts through the disciplines of physics, chemistry, biology, and ecology. Exploring Our Fluid Earth is now available freely online. Find out more at exploringourfluidearth.org.
Turn your love of the ocean into a lifelong career. Join NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as we unlock the secrets in the deep oceans, track rapidly moving storms, model climate trends, protect and preserve our marine resources, and so much more. It's all in a day's work at NOAA. Find a career that makes a world of difference, enriching life through science, service, and stewardship. NOAA.